How's it going, everybody? Prozzie here. I'm here with Life in Taiwan, and we're going to talk about the opposite of what I filmed last week. I talked about why Taiwan is probably the better choice for foreigners, and today I want to talk about why China might be the better choice for foreigners. Now, obviously, Alan and I both agree that Taiwan is the better choice because we live here.
Yep.
And I did make the move from China to Taiwan.
Yep.
But there are still some things that need to be looked at.
Well, I'm here more as a spectator on this video, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just here to give like a little bit of input and listen to what you've got to say.
Okay, sounds good.
But we're in a beautiful little village.
We are. No idea where we're supposed to go. All right, so the first obvious one, I think the biggest one that people often bring up is money.
Yeah.
And also cost of living. So salaries in mainland China are typically higher. Not much higher, but it's notable.
How much? Let's talk brass
Well,
tacks.
I would say for me, the lowest salary I would take, and by the way, me and Alan filmed a video about how much money you can make here in Taiwan. If you want to check that out, then click on the thing on the top corner of your screen. But, you know, I wouldn't accept anything under 15,000 RMB, which sits around 60-something thousand NT, I think. I'm not sure. So, but that's
about the same as here.
Yeah, but that's like the minimum I would accept for my experience, right? But yeah, so that's the thing. That's an average salary for Taiwan.
Yeah.
But where the money really comes into play is things like rent. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier to afford a place to live in China, whereas here rent can be quite high.
Give me some numbers.
Well, I mean, you could expect to pay for a single bedroom. For example, my apartment is about 13,000 NT, and that's like a loft, a single bedroom loft with no kitchen.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, for that kind of money in China, I can get myself like, you know, it has a kitchen, a nice place in the city center and all that. And yeah, so it's just cheaper to live in China usually. Obviously, bigger cities are going to be more expensive.
And you were there for 4 years, right?
Yes.
So you must have saved up loads of money.
No, I spent it all on scooters and motorcycles and beer.
I actually watched one of your videos today. I keep getting recommended them randomly, and how I became poor in China. That was an interesting story, man.
Yeah? Oh
crazy,
man, yeah, that was a good story. But China's a huge country. It's massive.
Yeah.
And that means that you have endless areas to discover, new cities, new like environments. You know, if you want to live in a place that snows, you can. If you want to go to a jungle, do you want to go to a desert? Do you want to go to like plains, grasslands?
Did you do all that stuff? Like, did you get out and travel at weekends?
Way too poor. That's the thing, like, keep in mind that, you know, you can go travel, it's relatively cheap, but it is so big, you are going to take airplanes to go to certain places. Depending on where you are, this is a stupid idea. But point being is that, you know, here in Taiwan, you know, your options are limited. Like, there's a few major cities, but beyond that, you can, like, run out of stuff to go and explore pretty quickly.
Yeah, I guess you're kind of right. Or the more exploring you do, the more niche your exploring becomes. So you'll end up in, like, a paperclip factory, like, for an afternoon.
Yeah, honestly, like for some of the stuff that we're gonna find interesting to film, it's like the island is only so big. And I know a lot of people yell at me because they're like, no, there's so much stuff you haven't seen in Taiwan, and you're right. Yeah. I'm just saying it takes a lifetime to discover all of China and, you know, a number of years to discover Taiwan because it's smaller.
I guess that links back to what we were saying at the end of last week's video, that some people prefer that and some people want to have the simpler, more restricted lifestyle.
Yeah, and that, so yeah, and you're right. We touched that. You said that it was really like well said in the last video. You said that some people might want more of a challenging experience. Some people might want that craziness. And China's definitely going to offer that. Your life is going to be a lot more crazy. You're going to have to put up with a lot more hardships, we'll say, but some people like that. Like, some of my greatest memories are from China, and they were all like just batshit crazy stories.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds. But again, if you're younger, like young guys like you, maybe that's more exciting. But for an old man like me,
you want a more stable lifestyle.
Yeah, you want to know what you're going to get and feel a bit more comfortable and safer, I guess.
Absolutely. Here's one thing that's going to cause a lot of controversy. What's the difference between those two words?
Are we English teachers?
I don't know.
Naivety, controversy. Yeah. Controversy.
Yeah.
That's how we'd say it.
British, controversy. American, controversy.
All right. So it's the food. And this is not so simple. I know, I'm going to get yelled at for this.
Yeah.
Okay, so Taiwan has more of an international cuisine. You have access to different, like people, Taiwanese people love Italian food.
Yeah.
They love sandwiches, Mexican. Yeah. You can get all that stuff. Whereas in China, that's in big cities you can get it, but it's just not nearly as easy as it is in Taiwan to get it.
Yeah.
However, if we're talking about local food, like mainland Chinese food is like some of the best food I've ever had in my life. Now, don't get me wrong. I know, don't get me wrong.
Unsubscribe. that your subscriber count is going to just nosedive now.
Don't get me wrong, like there's definitely shit restaurants where there's slop and it's like some of the worst food you've ever had in your life. But I just find the like actual Chinese cuisine in China was a little bit better. Not that Taiwanese food is bad.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I just personally prefer mainland food.
Okay.
And you can yell at me if you want to. That's just my personal
Well, you're going to get your
preference.
typical Taiwanese response, and the people are going to say, "Thank you for being so honest, and we'll try harder to make our food more delicious." That's how they react. But if you were to say that about Chinese food, they'd be like, "How dare you? Like, Taiwan learned everything they've got to cook and eat from us. They took it from us." So
that's like comparing Quebec to Canada.
Yeah. So is Scotland an independent country?
Yeah.
That was my American accent.
That was good. So anyways, I just found the food better. And that also reminded me of a quote that a friend of mine said in China. And it rings true. And that's, in China, you're going to live on the extremes of your experiences. So you're going to have some of the best insert X and some of the worst insert X of your life. You're going to have some of the best food in your life, but you're also going to have some of the worst food of your life that's going to make you horribly sick. Yeah. You're going to meet some of the best people who will become like lifelong friends, but then you meet some of the worst, scummiest people that you never, like, you hope die. Yeah. You know, you'll drive some of the best cars, you'll drive some of the worst cars. Like, your life is living on the streams. That's really exciting, and some foreigners might prefer that to, like we said earlier, the stable lifestyle that we have here in Taiwan. So, I mean, I think there's a lot more to talk about. For the sake of time, those are like the biggest ones I can think of off the top of my head. But so to summarize, if you're kind of young, if you're looking for more of an adventure, if you're looking to really challenge yourself, China's the place for you. I mean, if you really want to see how strong your character is, choose China. However, I think our personal recommendations are pretty clear. Yeah.
Well, like, I've only ever visited China once, and I found it very interesting, very noisy, very busy.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking I was so happy to get back to Taiwan when I get back. That's it. That's all that's my only experience I can really input, is that it was, I think I was in Hangzhou, very noisy, very smoggy, very different feeling amongst the local people there. And yeah, I would, if you offered me, even if you doubled my salary, I think I'd still hang around in Taiwan.
Yeah, I would still recommend Taiwan. However, you know, if you're a young kid who's coming out of college, you got a student debt to pay off, you want to do that quickly,
well,
China might
I
be
mean,
a better option.
I guess a point of view I could give you is my son is 7 now, so what, in 10, 11 years, he's going to be 18, maybe looking for a gap year, somewhere to go. Mm-hmm. If I was to recommend either to him from a father's point of view, I would feel much more comfortable with him coming to Taiwan, because he's still going to have an experience completely different to what he's grown up with in South Africa, but I'm going to know that he's much safer. And
it is hard to justify going to China because, okay, I know the video is called Why China Might Be Better for Foreigners, but Taiwan is better in almost every respect except for money, food, and adventure.
Money, food,
and even then, you can still have loads of adventure here in Taiwan. It's just, it's not as, your options just aren't as unlimited as they are in China, so to speak. I think it is time now, if you could do the honors of reading the top comment.
I can't, you've got
from
my
last week.
phone.
So, using his phone for audio.
Okay, so the top comment from last week's video with 144 upvotes. That's pretty good.
Quite a lot.
Which is Logan D. Beck. Something not mentioned is the fact that Taiwan has freedom of press and internet. Getting on Facebook, Google, YouTube, and so much in China is such a pain.
That's so true.
We kind of ignore that.
Yeah, you don't think about it anymore.
Yeah,
or like I don't think of it anymore. I remember when I first moved to Taiwan, I kept opening and closing my Facebook app because I couldn't believe it just worked without a VPN. Any VPN companies that don't want to sponsor me, I'm not going to say which ones are good, but VPNs were fucking a huge pain in the ass to deal with in China because there's no YouTube, there's no Instagram, there's no Google. Anything owned by Google, that's just no-go. And as a Westerner, we use those apps almost on a daily basis, and to not have access to that is really annoying. It's definitely something I missed in the last video, but like I said, there should be a part 2.
Also, the comments underneath Logan's comments and the replies, I'm not going to mention them here, but they're always quite interesting if you want to go and check out the video.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes.
My name is Prozzie. You can follow me on Instagram at Prozzie_SR to catch up on my day-to-day life. You can also check out my Patreon if you want to see some extra content. You can check out his Instagram.
Life in Taiwan 2017.
Yes, indeed.
3,700 followers. Catching you up.
Yeah.
It's so quiet and peaceful here, right?
I know, yeah. It shows a great place to come and film. But anyways, thank you for helping me film this, man.
Always a
He's
pleasure.
there for the moral support. You guys don't know how hard it is walking around with a camera stuck in your face.
Yeah.
Like a douchebag.
It's much easier when there's a couple of douchebags instead of one.
Exactly. You share the embarrassment.